Welcome back, y'all. Welcome back. Today, I'm going over a few recent reads. Let's just jump into it. The first book that I'm going to jump into is King of Ashes by S.A. Cosby. Now, this book has been all up and down and round and through social media for a good reason. Okay? This is a crime thriller, a fast-paced, high-stakes book. It just got a lot. It's a lot going on in here. Not too much. It's not overwhelming, but it's something constantly going on to keep you hooked. So you got the main character. His name is Roman. And this book basically follows him he's leaving Atlanta and going back to his hometown in Virginia, where he has to help his family out of a sticky situation. His brother Dante got into some trouble. But not only is he going back there to try to be a support system for his sister and his dad, he's also, like I said, trying to get his brother out of trouble. But he also has to face what he left in his hometown when he went off to Atlanta. So it's a lot going on. And this is not, I read almost all of S.A. Cosby's books. I think it's like The Brother something that I didn't read, but I've liked them all for the same reason. Like, I like his writing style. I like how fast paced they are. You can fly through these books because it's so much action going on and it's just so entertaining. Like, it's a lot going on in this book. Now, Dante, his brother, made me so mad and I was so annoyed, but he played the role of that stupid little brother like so much. His sister Nevaeh, she was like the more responsible one, the one that was kind of left holding the bag after everybody went and did what they needed to do. And then his dad, you kind of see, even though he's only in the story indirectly, so you kind of see his involvement in the story and how that plays out. But I actually really, really enjoyed this book. I knew I would. This was one of my most anticipated reads of 2025. And I'm not the biggest thriller person. I don't dislike thrillers. It's not that I don't dislike, but they're never like a high go-to for me. Like, if I'm going to go on a shelf and pick out a book, it's probably not going to be a thriller. But I was waiting for this to come out because it's actually really good. I thoroughly enjoyed it. And that's coming from somebody that's not really a thriller girl. Like, I can take or leave a thriller. S.A. Cosby gonna do it though. So I like I said in like other reviews of his books, I like how, one, he's a good storyteller. He can literally paint the scene perfectly. He's a great storyteller. And another thing about him is I like that they all take place, for the most part, in Virginian towns, because I'm from North Carolina and I've been up and through Virginia. So when he kind of names a couple of places, I'm like, yeah, I know that. Also, we have a cameo in this book from Razorblade Tears. I was excited to see that. One of the characters in that book popped up in this one. It was cool to see a very loved character. So yeah. That's the first book I'm going to talk about. If you want to read a thriller, but you don't know where to start, I'd say check out S.A. Cosby's work. You won't be disappointed. So that's book one. Book two. Oh, we got Sheila Johnson, Walk Through Fire, a memoir of love, loss, and triumph. Whew. This book triggered me in a lot of ways. So if you're one of the people who don't know who Sheila Johnson is, she is an entrepreneur, philanthropist. She's a co-founder of BET, her and her then husband, Bob Johnson. And she has a story to tell, like America's first black billionaire woman. She's just like, the book, she talks about how her life is split up into 3 acts, and she's not the only one. I've read plenty of memoirs that pretty much would agree that their life is pretty much split up into 3 acts. But like the part where she's young and, trying to find herself and trying to make it, to the part where she's married to Bob and she's still trying to find herself, still trying to figure out who she is and her worth. And then the last part where she feel like she can accept love and she believes in, like, you know, herself to a certain degree. She can kind of see what her contribution is and where she's supposed to be headed, and it all kind of comes full circle, which is great. The book starts off talking about her young life, how she was born into a kind of family that was high middle class, but still, you know, racial things gonna do what racial things do. Racism is racism, you know. Her dad was a neurosurgeon and her mom was an accountant. Her dad ended up pretty much abandoning him, and she talks about how that has played a part in the relationships after that she had, personally, professionally, privately, publicly, how that played a role in her relationship with Bob, how it played a role in her psyche, how she had to step up to the plate at a young age to kind of help provide for her family because her mom just was struggling, man. So, and then witnessing her mom being broken by her dad in that way. He left him for a nurse that he was working with, like left him. So talks about what that looks like, the aftermath of that. She talks about motherhood and adoption and child loss and rejection. And then her marriage to Bob was just so triggering. Okay, it was triggering. Very much so. Thankfully, she found love with her now husband, Bill. She's happily married now, but she went through decades of, you know, mess and hurt and manipulation and pain, you know, at the hands of being in the wrong marriage. But yeah, it's like so much. I liked how you can kind of see, even though she is filthy rich, you can see, like, while there are clear differences, like my girl was talking about her estate, and it's just like, okay, yeah, like while there are clear differences, I had a private jet at the plane, a private charter, you know, we did this and this and that, like that's cool. But you can also see that no matter how much money you have, some things are just life. Like it wasn't always that way for her, and some things just life, you know. Like she had all this money in the bank and was miserable in her house and her marriage and her mental, you know. So then talk about like the positivity of parenthood and stuff. It was a really good book. I thoroughly enjoyed it. One thing it made me think of, though, when I was reading about her being married, she got married at 20. I got married at 19. And it really made me think, like, you know, this could have ended badly. Like, I feel like God was like, he had his hand on us because we were figuring life out. We was figuring life out, you know, but we was madly in love. Like, that was my soulmate, and nothing was going to stop us from getting married. And we did. And here we are now, almost 14 years later. And it's just like, wow, like, I married a good man, because this could have went wrong. This could have went bad. And I'm sure like vice versa. So it made me very thankful for my husband and our journey and path. It made me appreciate her story to a certain degree. You know, like she's the owner of a huge resort line, and just saying like some of the struggles that she dealt with even as a billionaire, like some stuff she had to deal with because she was a black woman, you know. So very interesting. I enjoyed it. My mother-in-law actually recommended this to me, so that's why I read it. Okay, next, a book that I read on my Kindle, that is The Girls Who Grew Big. And I'm conflicted. While the writing was good, it was. And I can see why people like it. I do. I really, 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 really wanted to like it more than I did. I didn't dislike it, but in full transparency, it was triggering for me. So that's why I'm not going to say it's not a bad book. It's not. But for me personally, I felt like I probably should have skipped it and not read it. It's good for what it's good for. And that's why I kind of like, I'm on the line. I didn't want to like publicly give it a rating because for what it is, I feel like, you know, it's a good book. But personally, for me, I'm glad I read it on my Kindle because I don't really want to have it on my shelves for real, because I just feel like it was just super triggering for me. But let me talk about what I liked about it. What I liked the writing. I felt like it was authentic. It was a group of 4 girls who pretty much formed their own family, their own support system. They're all teenage moms, and they kind of been outcasted by their families. And they bond over the fact that they're teenage moms. You know, they form their own family. So I love the found family trope. And I thought that this would be like super empowering, where they like helping each other and lifting each other up. And I did get some of that in the book. Like one of the main characters, who was like the maternal figure in the group, she started the group. She kind of taught the girls a lot about just basic mom stuff, you know, like how to get your baby to latch, and just stuff like that. So it was cool. Like I liked that part of it. But there was some part, I'm not gonna get too into it. It was triggering for me, and I probably should have stopped reading it like the first time I got triggered. But I was like, yeah, you know, I'm gonna keep reading it because it's good. But yeah, there was some parts just talking about different things about motherhood and babies and birth and all that. That was just, it was for me. And I know it's a personal thing. So if you want to read this book, if you like the idea of teenage moms forming a community where they've been outcast by their family, they kind of talk about mistakes that they made. They own up to it. Some things that they did intentionally. One of the girls, like, you get resiliency. You do get resiliency. And that's the good part about it. So if you want to read it, check out the synopsis. I say go for it. Check the trigger warnings, because for me, I was like, I could have skipped this one. But you know, you live and you learn. I'm not going to fault her because the author, she did her thing. But it just wasn't for me. I'm not the audience for it. But it still was, you know, I can see why people like it. If you're not me and you don't have like certain things that kind of, you know, push you over, but I see why. Next, these two are a pair. Okay. I was recommending these on here. An elderly lady is up to no good, and an elderly lady must not be crossed by Helene Tursten. Both of these books were recommended because I love elderly protagonists. This is book 1 and this is the sequel. This is talking about an 88-year-old woman named Maud. And I think about Maud, I'm a 90s baby. I think about As Told by Ginger. So this is the picture that I had in my head the entire time I was reading the story about Maud. You can't take these books too seriously. Like, you cannot. They are ironic. It's about an old Swedish lady. She's 88 and she just wants to be left alone. She don't want to be bothered. She don't want nobody in her business. She don't want people in her space. She just wants to be left alone. And she's living in this house rent-free based on like a grandfather clause. And people keep getting in her business. And so she does what she has to do to kind of them and get them out her life. But in order to like hide her alias is like this feeble old woman. And so it's funny in a way that like Maud kind of talks about it. Don't take it too seriously. It's supposed to be like quick reads, kind of just like, this lady is off the chain. And that's what she is. Maud is going around protecting her peace. And yes, she out of her mind. Yes, she's unhinged. And she don't care. But she gonna play that old feeble-minded, I can't hear, I can't do nothing, I'm an old lady role when she get questioned, because that's just what she gonna do. It's a perfect cover up. But in the last book, you can see how she wants to like, she does something kind. She gave back. She did a nice thing after all this murderous activity. She did a nice thing. And you like, you know what, Maud? Yeah, okay. Go ahead, Maud. Go ahead now. But yeah, that's it. That's all I want to talk about in this video. If you've read any of these, let me know. I love hearing about what y'all think about these books. I love hearing. If you want to read one of them, just let me know. And I'm going to see y'all on the next one.